You are replaceable. Do not forget that, she told me during our argument. I looked at everything I was paying for, her rent, her car, and her credit cards. I replied, if I am replaceable, then so is everything I provide. I canceled everything. She called 3 days later when her card was declined during a dinner with friends. I treat my life the way I treat my work. I assess risks, manage assets, and look for a return on investment. That might sound cold to some, but that is how I built a net worth that puts me in the top 1% of my age bracket. I do not show off with it. I drive a 4-year-old sedan. I wear unbranded clothes and I max out my retirement accounts. Madison hated that about me. We had been together for 3 years. In the beginning, she was down to earth. She worked as a marketing coordinator, made a good living, and we split expenses 60-40 based on our incomes. But about 1 year ago, she decided she wanted to change career paths. She wanted to become a lifestyle content creator. She quit her job to focus on her brand. I supported her, I loved her, and I had the means to provide for us. I took over the rent for our downtown apartment, which she said she absolutely needed for the aesthetic. I took over the lease on her luxury SUV because she could no longer afford the monthly payments. I paid for the dinners, the trips, and the clothes she needed for her content. For the last 12 months, I was the sole financial provider. Her contribution to the household income was zero. In fact, it was negative if you count the credit card debt she accumulated on the secondary card I had given her for emergencies. Then came Blake. Blake was a consultant she had met at a networking event. He was everything I was not. He drove a leased Lamborghini, wore suits that cost more than my first car, and constantly talked about having a high-level mindset. He was flashy, loud, and visibly rich. Suddenly, I was boring. I was stagnant. Blake thinks you do not take enough risks, she told me one evening at dinner, barely looking up from her phone. He says you have a scarcity mindset, which is why you do not want to buy me that Cartier bracelet. Are you afraid to spend? I am not afraid to spend, Madison, I said calmly while cutting my steak. I am afraid to waste. There is a difference. And I do not care what Blake thinks. She rolled her eyes. Of course you do not care. You are not interested in networking. You just want to sit in your little office hoarding money. The disrespect started as a trickle and then turned into a flood. Late nights brainstorming with Blake. Content creation weekends where I was not invited because I would kill the vibe. I was not blind. I knew what was going on emotionally, even if I had not caught them physically yet. She was laying the groundwork. She was testing the waters with Blake to see if he was a better option before letting go of her safety net. The safety net was me. The breaking point happened on a Tuesday. I had just gotten home from a crazy day at the firm. The apartment was a complete mess, PR packages everywhere, clothes on the floor. Madison was on the balcony on the phone, laughing that charming laugh she used to reserve for me. She came inside, saw me, and her face fell. The smile vanished instantly. You are home early, she said, looking disappointed. It is 7 p.m., Madison. I am actually late. Well, we need to talk, she said, crossing her arms. Blake invited us to a gala this weekend in Miami. VIP table. This is huge for my brand. I need you to book the flights and the hotel, the Mandarin Oriental. I put my keys on the counter. I am not going to fly to Miami to watch you flirt with a guy who disrespects me, Madison, and I am certainly not going to pay $5,000 for the privilege. The atmosphere in the room changed. It went from tense to hostile. You are so controlling, she spat. It is always about money with you. You use it to control me because you know you have nothing else to offer. I looked at her. I really looked at her. I saw the designer dress I had paid for, the hair extensions I had paid for, the phone in her hand that was on my family plan. I offer stability, Madison. I offer a home. I offer a life where you do not have to work. She laughed. It was a cruel and ugly sound. Stability is code for boring. You think because you pay the bills, you own me? Let me tell you something, Jacob. She stepped closer, invading my personal space, pointing her finger in my face. You are nothing special. There are a million guys with a job. Blake has vision. Blake has passion. You are just a checkbook and you are replaceable. Do not forget that. I could have 10 guys in this apartment by tonight who would treat me like a queen just to be seen with me. And there was the truth. She did not see a partner. She saw a utility. I was a toaster. I was a Wi-Fi router, and apparently, I was malfunctioning. In the past, I would have argued. I would have tried to reason with her, to ask her why she was being so hurtful, but something inside me broke. It was not a loud noise, it was silent. It was the sound of a contract being terminated. The emotional part of my brain shut down, and the business part took over. I looked at the woman I had planned to propose to, and all I saw was a liability. "Okay," I said. My voice was calm. No yelling, no tears. She blinked, confused by my lack of reaction. "Okay. What?" "Okay," I repeated. "If I am replaceable, then what I provide is too. That is how the market works, right? Supply and demand." "What is that supposed to mean?" she sneered, turning back toward the balcony. "My God, you are so dramatic. I am going to Blake's to prepare for the trip. Do not wait up for me." She grabbed her purse, the Louis Vuitton I had bought her for Christmas, and stormed out. She slammed the door so hard the picture frames on the walls shook. She expected me to text her. She expected me to beg her, to apologize, to book the tickets for Miami to prove I wasn't cheap. She thought she had all the power because she thought I was afraid of losing her. She was wrong. I was not afraid of losing her. I was done paying for her. I did not sleep that night. I worked. I opened my laptop and pulled up our finances. I created a checklist. It was time to liquidate the assets. First thing Wednesday morning, I called my boss and took 2 days off. Then, I went to our building's leasing office. The property manager, Susan, knew me well. I was the one who always dropped off the rent check. "Hi, Jacob, is everything okay?" she asked. "I need to terminate my lease," I said immediately. "Oh, you know there are penalties for that. It is 2 months' rent plus the break fee." It was a lot of money, almost $8,000. Madison knew I was frugal. She never would have imagined I would burn $8,000 just to make a point. But it was no longer about money. It was about eviction. "I will write the check right now," I said. "I want the lease terminated effective immediately. I am vacating the premises today." "All right," Susan said, typing on her keyboard. "Since Madison is listed as an occupant, but you are the sole leaseholder, once you terminate, the legal right of occupancy ends. We will have to issue a notice for any remaining property. She will have 48 hours to collect her belongings before we change the locks." "Perfect," I said. "Do it." At 9:30 a.m., I went back up to the apartment. Madison was not there. She had stayed at Blake's, as I expected. I did not touch her things. I did not throw her clothes out the window, nor pour bleach on them. That is what emotional people do. I simply packed up my life. My clothes, my electronics, my documents, my personal belongings. It took me 3 hours to erase myself from the apartment. When I was done, the place looked strange. It was full of her mess, but completely devoid of my essence. At 12:45 p.m., I went down to the underground parking garage. Her white Range Rover was parked in spot 4B. The lease was in my name. The insurance was in my name. She was an authorized driver, but I was the official owner. I had the spare keys in my pocket. I unlocked it. The interior smelled of her perfume and someone else's cologne. A cheap, musky cologne. Blake. There was a coffee cup in the cup holder with lipstick on the rim. I felt a wave of nausea, but I pushed it down. Business, I reminded myself. This is just asset recovery. I started the engine and pulled the car out of the garage, leaving spot 4B empty. I drove straight to the dealership where I had leased it. "I want to do an early return," I told the baffled sales manager. "Sir, you have 18 months left on this contract. You are going to lose money on the vehicle's equity." "I do not care," I said, handing him the keys. "I want it out of my name today." I paid the difference. I signed the paperwork. I watched them take the car to the back to clean it. At 2 p.m., I was sitting in the lobby of a downtown Marriott. I opened my banking app. Additional card ending in 4098. Madison active. Status locked. Joint checking account funded 100% by me. Active. Action. Transfer funds. I moved every single penny from the joint account to my personal savings. I left the account open with a $0 balance. Then, I did the most important thing. I opened my phone settings. Madison, block caller. Instagram, block user. TikTok, block user. I deleted our photos. I did not archive them. I deleted them. I checked into my room, ordered a club sandwich, and sat by the window watching the city. It was done. In the span of 6 hours, I had become a ghost. I had no address that she knew. She no longer had a car. She no longer had money. She no longer had a lease. She thought I was replaceable. Fine, I just removed myself from the equation. Now, let us see how the equation balances out. She noticed nothing on Wednesday. She noticed nothing on Thursday. I assumed she was living the high life with Blake, enjoying her freedom away from my boring stability. She was probably telling him how she had finally stood up to me. She surely thought I was sitting at home stewing, waiting for her to come back so I could apologize. Friday night arrived, and I was at the hotel bar having a drink with an old college friend. I was finally relaxing. My phone did not ring because I had blocked her, but a notification popped up on my banking app. Chase fraud alert. Transaction declined. $485. SDK Steakhouse. Reason: card locked by user. 2 minutes later, transaction declined. $485 at SDK Steakhouse. 5 minutes later, transaction declined. $12 at Uber. I took a sip of my whiskey. It went down smooth. Then my friend's phone rang. He looked at the screen, frowned, and looked at me. "Dude," he said, "it is Madison? Why is she calling me?" I smiled. "Put it on speakerphone." My friend Ryan looked at me hesitantly. He knew Madison, but he had never really liked her. He always thought she was too much. He hovered his thumb over the answer button. "Do it," I said, swirling the ice in my glass. He tapped the speakerphone icon. "Hello." "Oh my God, thank God." Madison's voice blared, high-pitched and frantic. The background noise was loud. Clinking silverware, chatter, the hum of a busy restaurant. "Is Jacob with you? I cannot reach him. His phone goes straight to voicemail." Ryan looked at me. I stayed silent, just staring at the phone. "I have not seen him," Ryan lied. "What is wrong?" "There is a problem with the bank," she practically yelled. "I am at SDK with the girls and my card is declining. Both of them, the gold and the platinum. It is humiliating, Ryan. The waiter is standing right here looking at me like I am broke. Tell Jacob to call the bank immediately. You probably forgot to pay the bill or something stupid." "Madison," Ryan said in a calm voice. "Jacob manages his money pretty well. I doubt he forgot." "Well, there is a problem." She was panicking now. "And my Uber app is not working either. I tried to order a ride to leave here, and it says the payment method is invalid. I am stuck. I need Jacob to fix this right now." I leaned forward and whispered to Ryan. "Hang up." "Madison, I have got to go," Ryan said. "Wait, do not you dare hang up." Click. Ryan put the phone down on the bar. "That sounded expensive," he said. $485, I replied, plus tip. I knew exactly what was happening. She was sitting at a table with her influencer friends, the same ones who called me the ATM behind my back. She had probably offered to treat them to celebrate her upcoming trip to Miami with Blake. Now, she was the one who could not pay. She was going to have to ask one of them to cover the bill. The humiliation would be complete. But the night was just getting started. Around 10 p.m., my phone vibrated. It was a text from an unknown number. "Jacob, answer. It is Haley. Madison is losing her mind." Haley was her best friend, her partner in crime. I ignored it. Then another text, this time from Madison, presumably from Haley's phone. "Jacob, where are you? My key is not working. I am at the apartment, and the fob will not let me into the building. The concierge says I am no longer on the list. What the hell is going on? Answer." I waved at the bartender for another round. "Jacob, seriously, this is not funny. All my stuff is in there. I need to get in. The doorman is threatening to call the police if I do not stop banging on the glass. Stop playing games." I decided to break my silence, not to start a conversation, but to clarify the terms of the new arrangement. I typed a reply to Haley's number. "Haley, tell Madison that I terminated the lease on Wednesday. The apartment is vacated. The management company has been notified that I surrendered the unit. She has 24 hours to arrange with them to retrieve her belongings before they are considered abandoned. Also tell her that the Range Rover has been returned to the dealership. She will have to figure out her own transportation." I hit send. The phone rang immediately. It was Haley. I let it ring. It rang again and again. I imagined the scene. Madison standing on the sidewalk in her heels, locked out. She had mocked me for being controlling, now realizing she had no home, no car, and no money. Saturday morning, I woke up to 47 missed calls and a series of voicemails from random numbers. I deleted them all without listening. I grabbed a coffee and went to the gym. For the first time in a year, I did not feel the weight of her expectations pressing down on me. I did not have to worry about whether I was exciting enough. I was just free. Around noon, my mom called. I had to answer. "Jacob," she sounded worried. "Madison just called the landline. She was crying hysterically. She said you threw her out on the street and took her car. She said you were having a nervous breakdown. Is everything okay? I am fine, Mom, I said, stepping off the treadmill. I did not take her car. It was my car. I returned the lease. And I did not throw her out. I moved out. She told me I was replaceable, so I let her replace me. Oh, my mom said. There was a silence. Well, she asked if she could stay with us for a few days. I laughed. Mom, if you let her into the house, check your jewelry box before she leaves. I told her no. My mom replied firmly. I never liked the way she spoke to you at Thanksgiving. I just wanted to make sure you were safe. I have never been better. Sunday was the day of the Miami trip, the trip she was supposed to take with Blake. I was curious, I admit it. So, I did something I should not have done. I unblocked her Instagram for 5 minutes, just to see. Her story was active, but it was not a video of the Mandarin Oriental or a view from a private jet. It was a text post, black background, white text. Realizing who your true friends are. Some people are just toxic energy vampires who want to see you fail. Taking a break from social media for a while. #healing, #betrayal. No Miami. I found out later, through mutual acquaintances, what had happened. When Madison realized she was homeless and carless, she went to the only place she thought she had left, Blake's. She took an Uber paid for by Haley to Blake's apartment, suitcase in hand, expecting to be welcomed by her soulmate. She probably thought it was the beginning of their great romance, the moment she finally left her boring ex for the man who understood her passion. But Blake did not live in a penthouse. Blake lived in a 2-bedroom apartment that he shared with 3 other guys. He did not own the Lamborghini. He rented it on Turo on the weekends to impress girls. And when Madison showed up at his door, hysterical, with no money and nowhere to live, demanding to move in, Blake panicked. He did not want a dependent. He wanted a fun, no-strings-attached fling with a girl who had her own money, my money. He wanted the girl who drove the Range Rover, not the girl who needed to be dropped off at the bus stop. He did not just say no, he laughed at her. Babe, I cannot host you here, he supposedly told her. My roommates would kill me. Besides, I thought you were independent. That was kind of the whole vibe. When she told him she could not afford the Miami trip because I had cut her off, he canceled the trip. He told her he had business to take care of. He dumped her on his doorstep. She spent the weekend crashing at Haley's studio apartment, sleeping on a futon. Monday morning, the reality of her finances caught up with her. She had bills. Her phone bill was due. I had canceled the family plan. Her health insurance. I had removed her as a dependent. The minimum payments on her credit cards. She had 0 income. That evening, I was leaving my office building. I walked out into the cool evening air, checking my emails. Jacob, I stopped. She was standing near a planter. She looked rough. Her hair was unstyled. She was wearing sweatpants and a hoodie. I recognized it as mine. She looked smaller, deflated. She no longer had that arrogant lifestyle influencer posture. She looked like a girl who had spent 3 days crying. I cannot believe you did this to me, she said. Her voice was trembling, trying to sound angry but falling into pathetic. You ruined everything. I did not do anything to you, Madison, I said, keeping my distance. I just stopped doing things for you. I am on the street, Jacob. I am sleeping on Haley's floor. Blake turned out to be a total scam. He is a loser. Wow, I said in a neutral tone. That is crazy. I guess he was not a better option after all. She stepped closer, tears in her eyes. I did not mean what I said. I was just angry. You know how I get when I am stressed. We can fix this. I miss you. I miss us. You do not miss us, I corrected her. You miss the apartment. You miss the Range Rover. You miss the platinum card. That is not true, she sobbed. I love you. If you loved me, you would not have told me I was replaceable. I checked my watch. I have to go. I have a dinner reservation. With who? She snapped, the old jealousy surfacing instantly. That is none of your business. But hey, good luck with your brand. I am sure this will make great content for your healing journey. I walked past her. She reached out and grabbed my sleeve. Jacob, please, I have nowhere to go. My parents will not take me back. Please, just let me stay at the hotel with you for a few nights, just until I get back on my feet. I looked at her hand on my sleeve, then I looked into her eyes. I searched for any genuine remorse, any sign that she understood the gravity of her betrayal. But I saw nothing. I only saw desperation. She was looking for another handout. I gently removed her hand from my arm. You said you could have 10 guys in the apartment by tonight, I said softly. Why do not you call one of them? I turned around and walked to the curb where my Uber was waiting. I did not look back. The next 6 months passed in a blur of productivity. I got a promotion at work. It turns out that when you are not stressing over a partner who spends your money faster than you can make it, you perform better. I bought a small apartment just for myself. Minimalist, clean, quiet. I also met someone new, Sophia. She is a pediatric nurse. On our first date, she insisted on splitting the bill. I almost proposed to her right then and there. One evening, Sophia and I were at a charity event downtown. It was a gala night catered by the best restaurants in the city. I was grabbing a drink at the bar when I saw a waitress making her way through the crowd with a tray of champagne flutes. She kept her head down, trying to be invisible. It was Madison. She looked tired. She had aged 5 years and 6 months. Her influencer dreams had clearly evaporated when the funding dried up. Now, she was working in food service to pay the rent for whatever room she was leasing. She looked up and saw me. She froze. She saw the tuxedo. She saw the peaceful look on my face. Then she saw Sophia walk up to me, slip her arm through mine, and laugh at something I had just said. Madison's eyes fell on Sophia's wrist. There was a simple, elegant bracelet there. Not Cartier, just a thoughtful gift I had chosen. Madison looked down at her tray, her face red with shame. She turned around and hurried back into the kitchens. I watched her leave. I did not feel angry. I did not feel triumphant. I just felt nothing. Who was that? Sophia asked, noticing my gaze. I replied while taking a sip of my drink. Just someone I used to invest in. Bad return. I turned my back to the kitchens and focused on the woman who truly appreciated me. Madison was right about one thing. I was replaceable, but so was she, and I had definitely found someone better. Comment. Thank you for spending time with me today. Your true value is never determined by how much you can provide for someone else. Setting clear boundaries is the deepest form of self-respect. We often hold on to toxic situations out of fear, but walking away from disrespect opens the door to genuine peace. Real growth happens when we take responsibility for our own happiness instead of waiting for others to change. I hope you always keep your kind heart, but learn to give your energy to those who truly appreciate it. Life becomes much brighter when you surround yourself with people who love you for who you are. Choosing your own peace is never a selfish act. I wish you the strength to recognize your worth and the courage to build a life that feels authentic. Please take good care of yourself and never settle for less than you deserve. If you like the stories, don't forget to leave a